Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Thursday, May 26, 2016. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. Publicizing the senior officials' decriminalization data has sparked a great deal of debate in Parliament. The members of Parliament are accusing each other of changing names or birthdays to hide crimes they have committed. The former Prime Minister, Berisha, accused the current Prime Minister of changing his name in order to hide a crime committed in Spain. Mr. Berisha invited the Prime Minister to respond to his accusation of committing a crime in Spain. He further added that the Prime Minister is prejudiced towards people from the north, calling them criminals just because of where they're from. Mr. Berisha further declared that he was told by an ambassador that the Prime Minister calls people of the north anti-nationalist and speaks badly about them. The former Prime Minister's statement was condemned by the Socialist Party, and a 10-day exclusion from Parliament for Berisha was asked for. The plenary session was interrupted twice with harsh debates and accusations between the members of Parliament. Outside the Parliament building, Mr. Berisha continued to accuse the Prime Minister of bringing criminals to Parliament and gave assurances that there are no criminals in the Democratic Party. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Socialist Party parliamentary group accused the opposition of blocking the Parliament agenda and also asked for the 10-day exclusion of Mr. Berisha. The chairman called for an urgent gathering of the Bureau of Parliament to make a decision regarding the former Prime Minister. The Socialist Party argued today that an MP from the Democratic Party did not declare that he had been arrested in Yugoslavia back in 1991 and asked the Democratic Party chairman to respond. The Socialist MP, Alfred Peza, confronting the Democratic Party chairman, had this to say: "There are no criminals in the Socialist Party. The decriminalization law, which has had our support, did not discover any criminals in the Socialist Party. None of those you accused of committing crimes stands punished by the courts. Now that the spectacular lie about the Socialist Party has been officially proved, you should consider MP Noka, who has violated the decriminalization law by hiding his data." As the political parties are still unable to find agreeable compromises to conclude adopting the judicial reform, the Minister of Foreign Issues and the Minister of Integration are pleading for the parties to salvage the time left and adopt the reform as soon as possible. The Minister of Foreign Issues declared that as 92% of Albania's citizens want the reform, the political parties should respond swiftly to the social outcry. The Minister of Integration appealed to the politicians to adopt the reform, allowing the chance to open negotiations with the European Union. Romana Vlahutin was present at the Convention of Integration, where political representatives and civil society representatives were in attendance. The EU ambassador, who has been involved in continuous negotiations with Albania's political parties, declared that Albania needs to show the EU that it knows how to use all opportunities presented. According to the European Commission progress reports, Albania has made progress. You should move on to the next level, which will be more difficult. Besides political discussions, it is important to discuss policies. People want to know what the policies bring. Albania must prove to the EU, not with words, but with actions, that it knows how to use its opportunities. Ambassador Vlahutin also said the chairwoman of the National Council of Integration addressed her critics in the civil society, asking them not to base their reaction on donations. The ambassador of Slovakia was also present in the meeting, offering political and technical support to Albania for its integration in the EU. New Democratic Spirit Party calls on the Prime Minister not to wait for the opposition's consensus to adopt the judicial reform, but instead to immediately adopt it in Parliament. According to him, the opposition does not want to adopt the reform. The chairman of the New Democratic Spirit spoke today in the party assembly, saying that if the votes to adopt the reform are not enough, then a referendum should be held. Mr. Topi also commented on the electoral reform, saying that it is in collapse. According to him, the current electoral system should not change in order to not leave the parliament in the hands of the mafia political decision makers. The country-wide tour of the New Democratic Spirit Party to strengthen and reformat its branches was presented in their assembly meeting. After a drastic decline for months, oil prices are increasing again, going up to $50.1 per barrel. This is the highest level since November 2015. The price increase is due to Canada's national fire crisis affecting the production process and Venezuela's economic state of emergency. Oil prices were at their lowest point in the last 12 years during January of this year, and oil prices in the international markets have almost doubled since then. The directors of the Association of Petroleum told Ora News that if the oil price in the international markets stay at these levels for at least 10 days to 2 weeks, depending on company reserves, that this price increase will also be reflected in our market. Currently, oil in Albania is sold at 150 to 158 lek per liter, a rise of 5 lek per liter that happened earlier this month. According to Global Petrol Price, updated on May 23rd, Albania was ranked 15th on the list of countries with the most expensive fuel, being at levels close to countries such as Denmark and Switzerland. According to the market operators, the main reason for the high oil price in Albania is related to the high level of taxes, which make nearly 70% of the price. The Minister of Social Welfare announced that all orphanages will be closed within 2016. These orphanages have sheltered both orphans and social orphans, but the minister explained today that they will be turned into daycare centers. The children will be accommodated with foster families, which will receive financial aid from the state. The identification of families that will take care of the children will be made by local governments, and the Labor Inspectorate will monitor their criteria. The Minister of Social Welfare held a meeting with the mayors and ordered them to find families with economic ability and who want to take care of the orphans. According to the Ministry of Social Welfare, foster families will receive 9,000 new lek monthly for every child they accommodate in their home. There will be 25,000 lek allotted each year to be spent on books, school items, and clothing specifically. The President of the Republic, Bujar Nishani, has requested an international investigation on the construction of a playground at the Lake Park area, the project that the municipality is committed to conclude on June 1st. The President held a meeting with civil society activists. After the meeting, the presidential office issued a statement declaring that there should be an independent and impartial international investigation of the issue. Through a media communication, the president has expressed his personal and institutional commitment to continue as a strong voice in impartially protecting the interests of citizens without distinction. The president's stance on the construction of the Lake Park playground has caused an institutional stalemate between the president and the mayor of Tirana for several weeks. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Ora News, thank you and good night.